Hey everyone, I'm Wendy McSwain, and welcome to A Real Life Moment. This is a podcast series by Real Life Church where we offer you a quick moment of encouragement. We talk about our current sermon series, or maybe just a conversation that we want to share with you. Today, Phil Thomas and I are going to talk about the latest message series here at Real Life Church, Did God Really Say? Hey Phil, how are you?
I'm great. Hope you are.
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. So the message series is called Did God Really Say? And we're plugging in each week something that people think God says. Tell us a little bit about that concept, about what you came up with for this one.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated by the things that we say, popular sayings that we've heard over the years that we think are in the Bible. And it's easy to assume because it sounds good. You know, some of them are, only God can judge me. God helps those who help themselves. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Everything happens for a reason, and so on. And is it really in the Bible?
Right.
So,
yeah. I think some things it just sounds like wisdom. You know, we think of it as wisdom, so we think, oh, it must be in there.
Right.
And maybe it's not. So each week we're going to go through one of those sayings.
Right.
Why do you think we grab onto those things that sound like it's from the Bible? Is I want to believe what's true. I don't want to believe just what the world says or what I've always heard. But it's so easy to grab onto that and to accept it as truth.
Exactly. And I think that's where the danger comes in, is because even though it sounds good, when we say something that we think, like being adamant about it, that this is in the Bible, and a person who's seeking goes and tries to find it and they don't find it, then we lack credibility then. And that's dangerous. So it doesn't mean that we can't make a mistake. We can't misquote something. But if we say it all the time, then people who are seeking the truth, if they see that we're not being truthful, whether that's by accident or by laziness or complacency, just saying it just because we've heard it and it sounds good. You know, it sounds good. God helps those who help themselves. What's wrong with that statement? Well, because God is close to the brokenhearted. He's close to the lowly. He's close to the ones who can't help themselves. And when you look at salvation, if you look at salvation through that lens, we can't help ourselves. We are totally dependent on Jesus.
Yeah.
So I think that's the danger. And sometimes I think we let it sound too cute. Well, it sounds cute to say that. Well, it does, but we've got to remember that we are responsible to be credible and to be good witnesses. And if we're not being a good witness just by spouting off things that aren't true, maybe that's causing more damage.
Yeah. Just be thoughtful about what we're saying and look it up for ourselves instead of just accepting things. Yeah, that's good.
And that's the big thing too, is we want people to, it's good that people are trying to seek it, but we want them to be able to seek it and understand that it's in there. Maybe I misquoted it, and there's nothing wrong with telling somebody, if they ask a question, to say, I'm not sure about that, can I research that and get back with you?
Yeah.
You know, that's not a bad attitude than to just say some flippant statement that we've assumed is true, like everything happens for a reason.
Right.
No, it doesn't. You know, everything doesn't happen for a reason. And we'll get into that theologically and into the Bible, but that's just one. But we're going to look at 5 different sayings.
Yeah, so last week we talked about only God can judge me. And boy, I mean, that we were talking about in another meeting how, don't judge me is like, you can't say anything without people feeling like you're judging them, just cutting you off from before you even get words out of your mouth because they, sounds like a judgmental statement.
Right.
But what we found out was Jesus didn't really say we can't judge, right?
No, he didn't. In fact, he wants us to exhort each other, to help be accountable to someone else so that we can all do better. And that's hard. That's hard as a human, for you to be able to say something to me that where I need to do something better. And the same thing if I were to say it to you. Sometimes it hurts, but that's not the goal. The goal is for us to get better.
Yeah.
And to build each other up. And so even if we are judging someone, or we're exhorting them or correcting them, there is a responsibility to do that in a respectful, kind, and loving way.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing I really got out. You used the word warn. Sunday. So like, instead of just thinking about judging somebody, you're trying to warn them, which to me sounds like a caring thing to do.
Exactly.
If you can see that something's coming down the line, to warn somebody of that and to potentially encourage them in a direction instead of you're doing wrong, you know. So
like especially in the life of like teenagers, those of us that have already walked that journey, we want to warn them and help them say, look, learn from our mistakes. Don't make all of them yourself. Learn from your parents when they say, I've been there. I was a teenager too, and that's a kind and loving thing to do. And we're expected as Christ followers to do that for each other.
Yeah.
So.
And what you said a minute ago about it not always being easy. It's hard.
It is hard.
And you got to be willing to accept that back from other people.
Right.
If you're going to warn people and encourage and say the hard things, you got to be able to take it back. And
that's right.
I think it might be easier to say than to take.
Right. That's why Jesus warned them, and he said, don't judge others. And he's talking about being critical.
Right.
If you're being critical, that same measure will be used back on you. And so that's why we should say, I should do that in a loving and an edifying way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And one more thing, we need to, I think what your message did as well was give us the courage and to know that Jesus is calling us to do that.
Exactly.
That, it might not be comfortable. A lot of times the things that have come to me that I need to say, I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to say that.
It's easier just to ignore it.
Yeah. And just to let it go. But think about it. If you could warn somebody.
Right.
Yes, that's what you need to do.
Right.
So, it becomes a bigger topic than just
exactly.
Only God can judge me. It sounds really trite, but when you think about that, your responsibility is to warn people. Right. That's pretty serious.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So this coming week
is God helps those who help themselves.
Okay.
And we're going to look at the scriptural understanding of why that sounds good. Yes, God said in order for you to eat, you're expected to work. So he does expect us to be active and doing things. We're not supposed to just sit there like a dead leaf. We are to do things. But at the same time, when we really look at if God only helps people who can help themselves, then a lot of people who can't help themselves would be left behind, and that's not the case. God even told the people in the Old Testament when they were gleaning their fields not to take everything, to leave some of the things for the people who were needy. And so if that's the truth, then God helps everybody, and we're all dependent on Him through His provision of His Son for us. So in that light, we can't help ourselves. So that's how we're going to look at that statement, kind of through a magnifying glass. And hopefully it'll be fun. It'll be a fun way to look at it, but a reminder that we need to be serious about when we're studying God's Word, and we want to say something back that we are actually saying something that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So what are a couple more that we're going to study over the next few weeks?
Then there will be one that is, I'm having a hard time remembering the third one. I know one is, this is a big one. God will never give you more than you can handle.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yes.
I really like the message behind that. Everything happens for a reason, and I can't remember what the third one is, but that'll be week 3. But we'll look at these 5 popular sayings, and out of those 5, probably the most popular are either only God can judge me or judge not, and everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think we talked about this yesterday. I keep referring to conversations we've already had, but this is a really practical sermon series, and I'm getting a lot out of it personally, because I don't want to just say trite things to people that if somebody's going through something, I don't want to just throw out something we've always heard.
Yeah.
So I'm engaging with it because I want to learn, how do I speak to people when they're in hard situations? What should my posture be when I'm receiving correction or warning, or when somebody's trying to encourage me? So
it's
something I've been talking about the last few days. So that's why I keep saying, and we talked about,
like if you're trying to minister to someone who's been through something very hard, it is, in a way, it's comforting to say, well, everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Because God will take something that's tragic and ugly and make something beautiful out of that. But did God cause that to happen just so we could go through that? No, I think He allows it. So to me, I don't believe everything happens for a reason. Some things happen outside of our control, and no matter how hard we're trying to live the Christian life, bad things are going to happen, and we learn from that and move from that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it happened for a reason.
Right.
So that's easy. Like it's a comforting thing to say, well, everything happens for a reason. You'll get through it, and the fact that note that God's never going to give you anything that you can't handle.
Right.
Sometimes He will allow you to pass through a valley that you absolutely feel like you will never rise out of. But He has the love and the compassion for us to not only show that to us individually, but through each other. We're able to show that love, God's love for each other.
Yeah,
So,
that's good. Yes. So there will be hard things, but
yes.
when, He does promise things like He works everything for our good. So
Right.
I think that's part of this whole series is like, you can't you can't just say one little statement and that makes it all okay.
Right.
Or, that doesn't explain it all. God
Right.
works all His purposes together for good of the believer according to His will. So,
Right.
it's there.
Exactly.
It's a process. It's not like,
It is a
well,
process.
everything happens for a reason. That's the end of it. No.
Right.
God weaves our lives together over time, and when we look back, we see how faithful He was.
Exactly. And then we've learned and we've gotten stronger, but it still doesn't lessen the pain, even when we remember walking through that valley.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anything else you want to share about this series?
no, I'm looking forward to it just because I think it's a little more lighthearted. We'll laugh a lot, and it's not kind of as harsh as James
Yeah.
can be sometimes, but we'll look at it in a lighthearted way, but understand that we are responsible to take the Word and take it in all of its integrity to those that are seeking. And we want to, like you said, you said that very well. It's just we don't want to just give somebody some statement and say, "There now, it's okay. You just be good through this, and it'll be okay." No, there will be some difficult, trying things, but God's Word does bring compassion and mercy, and it shows His love and forgiveness and His overwhelming grace and mercy.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Well, thank you for sharing this series with us, first of all. I just, it's so great to be able to come each week and get some kind of practical knowledge that I can use on a Tuesday when I need to talk to somebody. So thank you for doing that. If you need more information about Real Life Church, and we want to invite you to come on Sundays, watch the live stream on Sundays at 10. If you're close by, we want you to be here with us so that you can benefit from the teaching that we spend a lot of time thinking about, especially Phil. He thinks about this a lot more than I even do.
Well, I'm being blessed by being able to, having the ability to do it and being blessed with this opportunity. So thanks for that.
Yeah. So we'd love to see you on Sunday. Let us know if you're watching, if it's on the live stream. And always go to discoverreallife.net if you need to know more. Thank you.
Have a great week.